What's up, guys? Out doing a little dirt bike riding today, and a little track walking. Thought I'd show you some of this stuff that I'm riding through that you can't see on the camera. Here we go. Here's one of the berms. So, let's see these. This is my hand. This is a size extra large hand. And we have these nice little rubies in there. Alright, and so this stuff doesn't offer a lot of traction. It just pushes the inside line. You just carve on this. This is volcanic cinder, and it just breaks away as you go on it, and it slides and it's loose. So it's extremely slippery. It's a lot different than riding in sand. I mean, it's crazy loose and light and fluffy. So you can see, like in this corner, it's just full of these rocks. And this is a pretty clean one. I'm just kind of coming through and picking it out because I'm taking a little break. But these insides are real hard, and as they break away, it's just this volcanic cinder. Anyway, it's real slippery. And as you exit the corner, you run into this. You start getting into this peat. And this isn't really peat, this is grass here, but there's a layer of peat in it too. So if we're looking here, come around, front tire dislodges that, and it just starts you on these skids. You just basically, front tire just pushes all the way through the corner. So, yeah, and then you get out here onto the grass, and all this stuff is real dry and loose, and it just blows apart. Okay, so now we're exiting the corner, and we're coming out of the straightaway, and you're absolutely pinned in second. There's just no juice left in second. I don't know, it's when, let's say 25, 26 miles an hour, and then you roll into something like this, coming through here. All right, these things dislodge every lap. That's a size 12 boot. You know, that thing's sitting right in the middle of the track. Hit that thing full speed, and then you're on top of these marbly rocks. They just roll all over the place. It's just like riding a really loose gravel road. And then these holes don't look very gnarly, but they're, once again, really fluffy volcanic cinder. And this, you can see there's a slight bit of moisture in there right now, but it gets dry during the day, and then it ends up just fluffing out. I mean, it's just bottomless. And so you end up getting these huge holes, and then you have this layer of grass on the top that's really hard, and then you get rocks inside of it, like right in there. That's solid rock in there. And so they're really square edged, they're really hard, and they get deep because of this bottomless cinder. Like, I just went down, I could almost cover my boot if I was equal with the ground. So it gets pretty rough. So I'm gonna fill this over, and it'll get dug out, but it'll keep that edge from being so sharp. Alright, so I'll give you kind of a fly through on this next corner with the camera. Real hard on the top. It's like riding on pea gravel, and then it immediately throws you into this super fluffy berm. There's just no traction at any point, and you might be committed, you might have your leg out, and then all of a sudden the front end just dives, it just dips, and it's really pretty hard to control. So it's really hard. It just jacks my heart rate up. I can't even hardly do just a couple corners, and it just spikes the heart rate because of the, I don't know, the adrenaline from being on edge. So here's the flyby. And all hard pan on with little BBs on top. And it gets increasingly duffy. and you just slide from the inside all the way out. You can just see all the lines get cut out because people drive on it with trucks, and all the lines get cut out, so there's no lines to follow. So you just slide and slide and slide and slide, and then you end up hitting these berms on the side, and they are all peat. I mean, you see, I can kick my boot halfway into that. It's just a volcanic bomb of grassy. It's dirt, but it's peat. So you just come in there, boom, and just nuke the berm apart. And you can see this line, boom. All this stuff just goes everywhere. And then you go straight into these holes you can't see unless you get you really down low. Really sharp edge, invisible holes. Wham! That don't move. Alright, so now you have corners like this one that are essentially gravel roads. Let me set the camera down so you can see me in it. It's just all this pea gravel. And you're just riding on that. Brake, lean in, whoa! See what I mean? And it's just, it's super slippery. Really easy to get squirrely. And then all the trucks have blown. Then you got these secret rocks in here, like this thing. My size of my entire body. And then these ruts get blown out from the beginner riders and from the trucks and ATVs. So there's no smooth line coming in there. You can see on some of them I can cut across the rut and get a straight line. But the rest of the time they just spit you out towards the edge. And it's really tight. It's really hard to hold your line. And everything is off camber. So everything pushes downhill. We're dislodging a lava rock. And these just pull out of the bank and fall into the track. And that's all solid. It's all solid rock in there. I'll kick this big hole in, and we take the big rocks, throw them off over there. All right, so here's the next doozy. This is a really off-camber corner hill. You come down this thing. It obviously probably doesn't look this steep in my other videos or even in this video. But once again, you're on this cinder pea gravel surface. Very slippery. And it comes downhill. You can see the earth just opens up and falls into a crater. I mean, that's deep on the other side of this crater. And so everything is just sloughing off. And so you can't hold this inside with your tires. It just slough, 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 slough. That's why you see me down here on this grass line a lot of the time. So the only thing that stops you is these big holes. And they don't look that deep, but they're fairly deepish. I mean, I feel like I'm whining because the holes at some of these national motocross tracks are deeper, but I'm on enduro suspension, and this stuff again is all this peat strewn with rocks. It's just strewn with baseball sized rocks, and these things, when you hit these things at speed, man, they can fuck you up. So that's what happens if you blow the corner. This is our little G out section, and it's kind of a cool little obstacle, but it's getting tricky because it's all volcanic cinder on the inside, so it's that BB like stuff. And if you look in here, there's basically two lines, inside and outside, and it's all this loose BB stuff. So there's not a whole lot of traction that I'm using soft terrain tires, and basically it just digs through it to get down to the hard. And then you come down into this G-out section and it goes straight into the bank. So this looks pretty small on my other videos. You look up this bank, it's a steepish bank, and it's nothing but loose stuff. Your tire just digs through this all the way up. And typically what I do, it doesn't look very impressive in the video, it doesn't look like you're coming off the ground, but I seat bounce right here. I put all the weight into the back of the bike and I dump the clutch coming down the hill to compress the suspension. So it literally almost bottoms out in the bottom of this hole. And as I'm coming up, I unweight myself, I unweight my body so that the suspension comes up. It's a seat bounce if you guys don't know how to do that. And it unloads right here, and my goal is to leave the ground right here. And I leave the ground right there so that I can clear the top without hitting the top. And the reason for that is it keeps you on the ground, number one, and number two, look how soft this is. It's like sand, but it doesn't have the traction of sand. So you come through here, and if you look at the edge of this bank right here, it's a really hard, sharp edge. It's a kicker. And what happens if you hit that with any speed, the back end of your bike just freaking skyrockets you up into the sky and just tries to throw you over the handlebars. And so I seat bounce over that so that I can be smooth over that. And you'll see in some of the videos, like my front end comes down, and which sometimes I intentionally do a little bit. Sometimes I let it touch a little bit so that it'll plant my front end on the ground so I can make this next corner, which I'll show you here. And I'm gonna kick this out because that's actually hard. And then I like to take this real tight inside, because if you don't take this real tight inside, this deep rut, and you get out into this stuff, like you can hear in some of the videos, this stuff, once again, it's just this dry, marbly stuff. And you don't have any traction in it. So you have to take this inside line, which has these surprisingly sharp holes. And if you carry too far outside, you don't make this next jump right. So this isn't a big jump, it's nothing scary. It's basically just molehills. I'm not trying to make it more exciting than it is, but there's technique to this to stay smooth on this kind of track. So if you go on this side, you have multiple bumps, and you don't set yourself up for this coming straight away. Carry it outside. I guess technically you could square it off and you could cut inside, but if you don't cut inside, you can't see from here. What I like to do, or try, if I go through the corner right, is kind of double off this bump and land down in the bottom. And then when you land down in the bottom, this is essentially a kicker. So if you look right here, this is all loose cinder again. It's basically volcanic charcoal. And you come up this, you can probably see now the hole in the face of the jump. Massive, massive kicker. So this is, you can see my line right here where I come up the inside and I seat bounce over top of that, which throws you to the other side. It gets tricky on the other side though. If you come through this fast and you hit this with your rear tire, once again you're going over the handlebars, and as you're going over the handlebars you're going to hit holes. So typically I try and fly over all of these holes. You got rocks strewn in there to land on. You land on that, you're foobar. And then you have this sharp hole here. I try and land at least with my rear tire in the hole. You'll bottom out pretty hard actually, but at least in the hole. But I try and get over the hole so I don't have to ride through all these holes because of that kicker. And then this straightaway is where I start shifting gears, And this straightaway ends up being over 50 miles an hour. And it is slippery and choppy. And it's so deceiving. Like, I would have never have said this was a rough track in my life. But it's just like deceivingly rough. It looks flat as a pancake. I mean, it just looks so flat, but when you're actually riding it, like I'm leaned back into the stegs and my bike is just hammering through this stuff. Absolutely hammering. So now here at the top of the straightaway, I'm gonna show you these holes that you come into. They're right around 45 miles an hour. These are wildly square edged, but you can't see them because the lighting doesn't perceive it as square edge. You can see it when you're going fast, and the faces of them are really loose and marbly because, once again, it's all this pea gravel shit on top. So that when you hit the bump, you know, it's hard to set your rebound right because you hit the bump and your back end will still swap through it because it's so gravelly on the top. Now we're hitting top speeds in the straightaway, and your buddy just went by and he dislodged this. Front tire hits this. Front tire hits this. I mean, this whole thing's a rock garden. This is all rock underneath here. Guys, so this corner is a real peach. Come in here, absolutely no ruts at all. All it is grass bumps and grass and no traction. It doesn't go anywhere. As soon as you start to make traction, you go straight into a minefield of baseballs. And then it goes right into a sand trap. It's just strewn with rocks. Just completely full. Look at this thing I just kicked up. And those just get torn up lap after lap. And you can see they roll out into the outside lines. So if you take the outside berm, they're just completely full of rocks. You'll be going through them, they're completely invisible, and then wham! You hit one and it just throws you everywhere. I didn't know they were gonna ride like grandmas.